In the year 2199, the sky above Earth was no longer blue. The rich lived in floating cities like Solara Prime, far above the dirty clouds and broken lands below. In these cities, everything was perfect, clean, advanced, and controlled. Nara was not rich. She worked 2 jobs and still barely had enough credits to pay rent. After her last roommate ran off with her savings, she decided to rent out her spare room again. This time, to a strange man named Cade. He didn't speak much, didn't even have a digital ID, which was almost impossible in Solara Prime. No one without an ID could get a job, own property, or even eat at most restaurants. But Cade didn't seem to care. He paid his rent early, in coins, real old Earth coins made of metal. Nira had never seen real coins before. They were outdated by more than 100 years. "Who is this guy?" her friend Lessa asked during a call. "I don't know. Quiet. Weird. Maybe some off-grid survivalist," Nira said, rolling her eyes. Lessa laughed. "You're living with a caveman." The name stuck. Nira and her friends started calling him that, the caveman. Cade didn't decorate his room. He brought only a small duffel bag and a long black case. He never opened the case around Nira, never let anyone near it. He always locked his door when he left. He didn't eat with her, didn't chat, didn't even watch the holoscreen. For 3 weeks, he barely said 10 words. One night, he left in a rush, grabbing only the duffel bag. He didn't come back that evening, or the next morning. Nira grew curious. Then, she got greedy. She waited until the hallway cams looped for maintenance, a short 5-minute window. She learned from a repairman she once dated. She used a basic lockpick she found in a drawer. It only took 2 tries. Click. The door opened. Cade's room was empty, not clean. Empty, like no one lived there at all, except for the black case sitting on the floor beside the window. It looked old but sleek, about the size of a violin case, but thicker. It had no visible handle or lock, just smooth black metal with some glowing blue lines on the sides. And in the center, alien markings. No Earth language, no colony script, nothing she recognized. Nira hesitated. Then she crouched and touched the surface. Nothing happened. She ran her fingers along the symbols. One part felt warm. She pressed it. Click. The case opened. Inside was something she couldn't describe. It looked like a weapon, or a tool, or a living thing. It pulsed with faint red light and had no sharp edges, yet felt dangerous. Then, a soft hum filled the room. The lights flickered, and a single word appeared on the surface of the object in glowing red text. "Warden activated." Nira jumped back. The object began to float, slowly rising into the air. It rotated once, then locked its position mid-air. "Okay, what is that?" she whispered. The lights in the room turned blue. Her wrist comm shut down. The holoscreen in the hallway flickered and went black. Then something stranger happened. The window flashed with a brief, blinding white light. Nira ran over and looked out. A small drone hovered outside, red lights blinking rapidly. Not the usual kind. This one was silent. Too fast. Government tech? Suddenly, her wrist comm buzzed back to life. A message flashed. "Unauthorized activation detected. Location: Solar Prime Sector 3. Scanning in progress." Nara froze. "Oh no. Oh no, no, no," she whispered, backing away. She tried to close the case, but it wouldn't shut. She grabbed it, ran to the living room, and tried to hide it in the storage bin. Nothing worked. The object just floated there, watching her, waiting. Then she heard the door, the main door. Cade was home. She turned, heart pounding. He stood in the doorway, calm, not angry, just disappointed. His eyes locked onto the case, then on her. "You opened it," he said softly. Nira swallowed hard. "I didn't mean to. You weren't here. I thought it was some kind of tech." "You weren't supposed to see that." The device floated toward him. It lowered gently into his open hand. As soon as he touched it, the light on it changed from red to silver. The air in the room felt heavier. Cade looked her in the eyes. I hoped I'd have more time. Naira stepped back. More time? For what? He didn't answer. He just looked out the window. In the distance, the sky above Solara Prime shimmered with strange shapes, drones or ships. Naira's mouth went dry. What is going on? Cade turned back to her. You brought attention to this city, and now they're coming. Naira backed away from Cade, her breath shallow. The strange silver device hovered beside him now, humming low like a sleeping animal. Lights danced across its surface. It responded only to his touch. She pointed at it with shaking hands. Is that alien? Like real alien? You're not from off-grid, are you? Cade didn't answer. Instead, he walked calmly to the window, eyes fixed on the sky. Outside, the floating city of Solara Prime was quiet, too quiet. The usual air traffic was gone. The digital billboards were off. Emergency drones hovered near every tower like silent watchers. Naira followed him to the window, whispering, What's coming, Cade? He finally spoke, his voice low. They weren't supposed to find me. Naira frowned. Who? The ones who made this, he said, lifting the floating device slightly. And the ones who destroyed everything below before escaping into the stars. A mistake woke it. You activated its signal. She shook her head. I didn't mean to. I know, Cade interrupted. But that doesn't matter now. Suddenly, something flashed in the sky. Naira and Cade both looked up. A glowing shape dropped from above. Fast, faster than any ship she'd ever seen. It didn't fly like a drone. It glided like it belonged to a different universe, smooth, alive, and silent. It landed just above the city dome. No engines, no sound, just presence. Naira's heart pounded. That's not from Earth, is it? Cade didn't blink. No, and it's not here for peace. Elsewhere in Solara Prime, elite city guards were already suiting up. The central AI had detected a level Omega signal, something ancient, forbidden, and never meant to be touched. It was the signal Naira had triggered. Across news feeds, warnings flashed in red. System A alert. All race identities remained INDORs. TNPORARI no flight zone in EFT. Unidentified LGCT above city. But in Cade's building, none of that mattered. Because the object wasn't looking for the city. It was looking for him. Naira turned to him, panic rising. You need to leave. Now, before they link you to this. I can't run anymore, Cade replied. That's how they catch you. They wait for fear. I have to do something. I didn't want to. The black case opened again, this time on its own. From inside, a handle extended. Then long, curved silver plates began to assemble in midair, locking together into a strange armor around Cade's right arm and chest. Naira stumbled back. What is that? Warden protocol, he said. She blinked. What's a warden? Cade's eyes glowed faintly now. It means I was not just running. I was hiding because I used to be one of them. The ones who hunted monsters across systems, before they turned into monsters themselves. He looked at her. And now, I think, they sent another one. To erase the past. Outside, the air grew colder. The strange object above the city began to shift shape. Long legs unfolded. Eyes, too many eyes, lit up red across its surface. And then, it screamed. Not like a siren. Not like any human-made thing. It screamed like it remembered pain. The sound wasn't loud. It was deep. Felt in the chest. In the bones. Like guilt made physical. Naira dropped to her knees. Her ears blurred. Cade stood firm. His armor pulsed, matching the rhythm of the scream. Then silence. Just silence. Cade walked to the door. He glanced back at her. Stay in this room. Don't open the window. Don't trust anyone who looks human but doesn't blink. Naira stared at him, pale and shaking. Where are you going? He answered simply. To stop something worse than what came before. As the door shut behind him, Naira stood frozen. Her home, her life, had turned into something she barely understood. She looked at the strange silver case again. The last line it displayed before closing was this: Target ratio organized, Warden status, XPIRT. Hostile EMTAT approaching. The sky above Solara Prime turned dark, even though it was noon. Clouds didn't move like clouds anymore. They swirled, paused, then spun in strange patterns. Something above was bending gravity, folding light. Inside her small room, Nara stared out the window, her body still weak from the sound that had pierced her bones. Her hands trembled as she held a warm cloth to her ears, wiping away blood. But her thoughts weren't on the pain. They were on Cade. Who was he? How did a man with no ID, no past, no digital footprint, suddenly turn into some kind of armored warrior? She looked at the black case again. Now it was shut tight, completely sealed. And somehow, it felt like it was watching her. Meanwhile, down below, Cade walked alone toward the center of the floating city. People were screaming now. Some tried to leave the city gates, but the skyports were offline. Others tried calling for help, but all network towers were jammed. Even emergency AI units had gone quiet. But Cade moved calmly, as if he had seen this before. He passed panicked crowds, riot officers, and fallen drones. No one stopped him. Some couldn't even see him clearly. The armor on his chest bent light, making him hard to track. In the sky above, the alien object was changing again. It now looked like a spider, but with blades instead of legs. And its many red eyes had found him. Inside the security tower, 2 high-level commanders watched the scene through satellite cams. "Who is that man?" the first asked. "Facial recognition fails every time," the second replied. "It's like he doesn't exist in the system, not even under off-grid records." "But the alien target, it's locked on him. Why?" No answer. Suddenly, the cameras blinked. All screens showed static, except one. That screen zoomed in on Cade's face. He looked directly at the camera and smiled. Then the feed cut off. Back in Nira's apartment, something strange began happening. The black case, now sealed, slowly floated into the air again. This time, it didn't open. It projected a hologram. Nira watched in shock as glowing images spun around her: maps of planets, lists of fallen civilizations, files marked Wardian Loss, RECORDs, and CLSIFIT, CLP agents. And then, a video started to play. The video showed Cade, younger, stronger, in a black uniform fighting side by side with other warriors in glowing armor. They weren't just soldiers. They were wardens, galactic defenders created after the fall of Earth's first interstellar fleet. Their job was to find ancient weapons, shut down alien tech, and stop creatures that survived the Nexus War. But something went wrong. In the final seconds of the clip, one of Cade's own team members turned on him, then disappeared into a strange portal. The words burned into the air. "Where were DENKAD? Status survived. Mission incomplete." Naira backed away from the floating image. Suddenly, the door to her home shook. Boom! Boom! Not a knock. Something was slamming it. She grabbed a kitchen knife and stared at the door, terrified. But it wasn't Cade. A voice called out, robotic but human-like. "Citizen Nira, we are from the Council of Solara. You are harboring a dangerous entity. Open the door or we will come in." Her voice cracked. "He left. I don't even know who he really is." Silence. Then the voice said something that chilled her blood. "Yes, you do, and so do we." Outside, Kay stood in the middle of the plaza. Above him, the alien drone descended. It had finally chosen to attack. The spider-like machine dropped a glowing spear of light toward him. Fast, hot, deadly. But Kay didn't flinch. He raised his right hand. The armor shifted, opened, and something ancient burst forward. A pulse of blue energy exploded from his palm, blasting the light spear apart. The drone paused, calculating. Then, From its body, it opened a mouth, not mechanical, not digital, organic. It spoke one word: traitor. Cade took a step forward, unshaken. He whispered back, "I buried your kind once. I'll do it again." Inside her shaking apartment, Nira backed away from the front door. She knew the Council of Solara didn't make polite visits. If they were here now, in the middle of this citywide blackout, it meant one thing. Cade was never just a renter. A voice came from the floating black case again. This time, it wasn't a warning. It was a calm woman's voice. Cold, robotic, familiar. "You have accessed classified Warden tech. Protocol 9 Delta now active. Prepare for memory scan." "What?" "No, wait," Naira shouted. But it was too late. A soft beam of blue light scanned her eyes. Suddenly her mind filled with images she had never seen, or had she? She saw planets burning, alien ships eating moons, warriors in black and gold armor. And in all those memories, Cade was there. He wasn't a stranger. He had saved her once. Years ago, before Nira came to Solara Prime, her ship had been attacked during a refugee run from the Martian rebellion. She had always thought she was just lucky to survive the explosion. But now she remembered clearly. A tall man had pulled her from the wreckage. He wore dark armor. He whispered, "Forget this. Live free. You've seen enough war." And then, she forgot. Until now. Suddenly, a loud crash broke her thoughts. The door exploded inward, and 3 armored agents rushed in. Their suits were silver with blue lights. High-tech, clean, government grade. But the moment they saw the floating black case, they stopped. "Warden tech," one of them whispered. Another raised a scanner. "Model unknown. Code is impossible. This case is not from any known fleet." Naira stood in front of it, her hands shaking. "You need to leave." The lead agent ignored her. "Take the woman," he ordered, "and bring the case." But the case spoke again, this time louder. Unauthorized hands detected. Defense mode active. A loud pulse blasted out, knocking the agents off their feet. Meanwhile, in Solara Plaza, the alien drone's massive legs slammed down as Cade moved through clouds of fire and smoke. The drone tried again, this time firing a sound weapon. The frequency was meant to paralyze humans. But Cade was no normal man anymore. He slid under the blast and jumped, higher than anyone should be able to. He landed on one of the drone's blade legs, ran up the side, and drove his glowing gauntlet straight into one of its red eyes. "Purrfect." The alien screamed. The sound shook buildings. People across the city watched from behind walls and windows. They all had the same thought. Who is this man? Inside the council tower, alarms were ringing. Dozens of screens showed Cade fighting the alien machine and winning. A woman in a deep red cloak stood before the high board. She was a council judge, one of the most powerful figures in Solara Prime. "Why didn't we see this coming?" she asked coldly. An AI replied, "Warden Cade has been off-grid for 13 years. He was presumed dead, but now he is back." "And the drone?" she asked. "Species unknown. Technology, older than human record." The judge narrowed her eyes. "Prepare the final weapon. If Cade survives, we won't." Back in the plaza, the alien drone began changing. Its body unfolded into something new, no longer a machine. Its metal face cracked open. Beneath was a living creature, black skin, sharp mouth, and thousands of blinking eyes. Cade stepped back. This wasn't just a drone. It was a hunter. One sent long ago to finish the last of the wardens. The creature growled, "Your time is over, human." But Cade's armor pulsed with light, and then something strange happened. A second black case floated toward him from the sky, as if summoned. It snapped open, and inside was something ancient, a glowing warden blade, etched with alien runes and wrapped in firelight. As he gripped it, thunder cracked across the sky. Naira, still holding the original case in her home, saw her lights flicker. The voice in the case spoke one final time. "Memory link complete. You are now a witness." Warden protocol active. Prepare for activation signal. The sword in Cade's hand burned like fire, but it didn't burn him. Instead, it hummed, it remembered him. Alien symbols glowed across the blade's edge. The light wrapped around Cade's arms like vines of energy. All around him, the city of Solara Prime stood frozen. Civilians stared, drones recorded. The alien creature growled, stepping down from the wreckage of its former body. Now fully revealed, it was a nightmare. 8 limbs, black armor fused to its skin, and a mouth filled with writhing tentacles. You should have stayed buried, Warden, it hissed. Your kind is extinct. Cade didn't speak. He charged. At the same time, back in Nira's apartment, the floating case plunged slowly in the air. It hovered in front of her like it was waiting. She took a step forward. What do you want from me? The robotic voice answered. You have seen the truth. Your memory is restored. You carry the mark of survival. That makes you a witness. Before she could ask what that meant, the device flashed, and a wave of energy surrounded her. She blinked, and suddenly found herself standing in a bright white room. No furniture, no windows, just her, and a hologram of Cade in full Warden armor. If you're seeing this, the hologram said, then I didn't make it. Nira's heart skipped. No, wait, what? This city is not safe. The creature they unleashed is ancient. It was hunting us long before Earth even had satellites. I came here to stop it. But if I fail, you must warn the next one. Then the hologram looked straight at her. You were supposed to forget me. But you never really did you? Nira's eyes filled with tears. Cade had protected her, twice now. First in the past, and now again, even in danger. Back in Solara Plaza, the Warden blade clashed with the alien's claws. Cade moved like lightning, spinning and striking, the symbols on his armor flaring brighter with every hit. But the alien was fast too, and angry. It kicked Cade hard into a concrete wall, then roared, shaking the entire district. From above, council drones locked onto the scene. High in the command tower, the judge gave a chilling order. Fire the orbital cannon. But ma'am, a tech protested, it'll destroy the plaza. Collateral damage is acceptable. The Warden cannot be allowed to live. As the countdown began, far across the city, Nira was suddenly yanked out of the white room. She was back in her home, gasping for breath. But now, she could see more. Her eyes glowed faintly, her skin shimmered. The Warden tech had changed her. A voice echoed in her mind, not robotic this time. Cade's voice. Nira, if I fall, the blade will seek the next Warden, and this time, it might not choose me. She didn't understand what it meant yet. But she knew one thing. She couldn't let him die. In the plaza, Cade fell to one knee. His armor was cracked, his blade dim. The alien laughed. You were the last of them, it said, lifting Cade by the throat. And he still failed. Then it stopped. Both of them looked up. In the sky, a red dot had formed, growing larger, a light from the heavens. Cade's eyes narrowed. That's not mine. The alien's eyes widened. They're firing on both of us. The countdown hit 0. A blast of white light tore through the sky. Solara's orbital cannon. Everything froze. Boom! The cannon struck the plaza with terrifying force. Everything was gone. Glass, steel, stone, turned to ash in seconds. Silence followed. No one moved, no one spoke. Until a black circle of light appeared in the middle of the crater, a dome. And from inside it, Kay stepped out. Wounded, burned, but alive. His blade glowed again, brighter than ever. Across the city, Nira felt it. Something clicked inside her, like a signal. The case in her room spoke once more. Final activation complete. Warden legacy secured. New phase begins. She didn't know what phase, or why the blade hadn't chosen anyone else. But she knew now. Cade wasn't alone anymore. Citizens of Solara Prime stared in silence from rooftops and holoscreens. The alien was gone. The orbital cannon had failed. And Kay still stood, his armor glowing like fire under his skin. He didn't speak. He simply looked up at the floating tower, the council's command center. They tried to erase me, he said quietly. But they forgot one thing. He raised his blade. I was never here for revenge. I was here to wake them up. Across the city, Nera raced through the skyport. Her fingers were glowing, literally. Every digital lock opened before she even touched it. Her eyes flashed with the same ancient symbols Cade's blade had shown. A council drone tried to scan her. It short-circuited instantly. Too late, she whispered. You shouldn't have messed with the wrong person's memories. In the command tower, panic spread. The judge barked orders, demanding more weapons, more shields. He's just one man. But the tech team said the same thing again and again. We can't stop him. He's rewriting the systems. Then they noticed something worse. A second name had appeared in the ancient registry. Warden Naira. Status? Awakening. The judge froze. There can't be two. Back at the crater, Cade touched his wrist. The case, still in Naira's home, opened fully, and far above the sky, a hidden satellite activated. It had been in orbit for decades, cloaked from every radar. People across the city looked up as an ancient symbol appeared across the skyline. The wardens have returned. Cade turned and began walking. He didn't rush. He didn't need to. Every camera in Solara watched him. Everyone who had laughed at him, mocked him, ignored him, they all remembered now. He paid rent in old coins. He had no ID. He spoke with strange silence. And now, he had just saved the city from something not even the council could fight. Naira reached the plaza at the same moment. The crowd stepped aside as she walked to Cade. Her eyes glowed like stars. She wasn't afraid anymore. Was this your plan all along, she asked. Cade gave a rare smile. No, he said, but you made the right choice. She looked down at her hands. Symbols shimmered faintly. Do you think I'm ready? He stepped aside and placed his blade in front of her. It already chose you. From deep beneath the city, old warden archives began to open, vaults sealed for over 100 years. A whisper passed through the data clouds. A second generation is rising. And at the center of it all stood two people no one had expected, a struggling woman who broke the rules, and a man they thought was a nobody. Final scene. Weeks later, Solara Prime had changed. Council members resigned. Citizens built memorials to the fallen. And somewhere, far beyond the floating city, a new warden base was being constructed. Inside it, Nera trained with others, new recruits chosen by the same alien tech. But above them all, Kay stood watch, silent and steady. He was no longer hiding. Because now, the galaxy had been warned. Mess with one of us again, and the wardens won't just watch. We'll remember.